Depressed, disappointed, discouraged. Just some of the D words that express how I feel right now after last night's Sixers defeat in South Philly to Boston in game 6 in a closeout game. We're going to talk about it. Extended 90-minute edition of Trending in the AM. We also got the Eagles schedule officially released. I don't like it at all. I think it's very disrespectful the way the schedule is written for our Eagles this year. So we're going to get into that as well. Drop your comments. Trending in the AM, where your opinions matter the most, starts in 30 seconds. And a very good morning, everybody, and welcome to Trending in the AM, right here on Philadelphia Sports Network. We're live, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. You know the drill, like, share, retweet, follow, all social media platforms. Do me that favor, hit that like, that subscribe button, and turn those notifications on the Philadelphia Sports Network YouTube page. Mark already chiming in. I don't want to hear your negativity, Phil. It's a different form of negativity this morning, Mark. I had been swayed to the good side. I thought the Sixers had a chance last night. And the Sixers came out and completely shit the bed last night. Losing last night 95-86 to the Boston Celtics in what could have been a closeout game 6. And they did. And it breaks my heart, guys. Literally breaks my heart. The Sixers hurt the bad last night. That's what I'm not negative today. I'm hurting today. I scheduled this to be a 90-minute special extended episode this morning, hoping that we were going to have such a positive conversation today. And we're going to talk Sixers for a lot of it. We're going to talk Eagles for a lot of it and their schedule release. And I have actually some negative thoughts on the schedule, not in a bad way, in a good way, about the Eagles schedule. We'll get into that as well. I'm just hurting, man. And I think a lot of Philadelphia Sixers fans are hurting this morning. He made big shots, Jason Tatum, down the stretch. Absolutely. Also, stop wearing blue jerseys. We've sucked. Dude, jersey curses are a real deal, man. And Jason Tatum, props to him. The guy was like 0 for 100, man. And he just kept shooting. And you know what? With 5-6 minutes left in that game, all of a sudden, the lid came off the basket and they started dropping for him. And I said it multiple times on Twitter last night throughout the game. You better build a lead because he's not going to keep missing these shots. And that's exactly what happened. You know what I mean? Like, you can't expect Jason Tatum to go over, that many times. You know what I mean? So we knew it was going 7. Celtics should have cakewalked both series, and they've been sleepwalking both series. They could be had. Yeah, man. It's weird because I'm not negative today. I'm hurting. I'm depressed. I still think the Sixers have a chance to win Game 7. No team, the Sixers or the Celtics, have shown to be the better team yet in this series. This has been as evenly matched in a disappointing way because both teams have come up small in big moments multiple times this series. That's the thing. Like, it's not just the Sixers disappointing last night. The Celtics have disappointed. The Sixers have in earlier games this series. It's like back and forth disappointments this series. So I'm not saying that the series is over at all. Like, they still do have a solid chance. Now we get 90 minutes of therapy. Man, I'm not going to be a good therapist. I need your therapy, Marshawn. I need therapy today. I'm wearing my KO shirt. I feel like I got knockout punched last night. I feel like I got, punched in the face and the gut last night from that game. F that guy, Tatum. Yeah, post-game interview, what'd he say? I'll humbly say this, that I'm the best basketball player in the world. Dude, you're 0 for 100, man. And you made like 4 big shots down the stretch, which they were huge. I'm not taking anything away from them. But, man, I'll still say it, Mark. I'll take Jaylen Brown over Jason Tatum on my team any day. And Jaylen Brown didn't have a great game either. Jersey curse is real. We were 0-2 with the blue jerseys against the Celtics. White jersey, wear red. Yeah, I mean, it's a real deal. What the heck, Phil? This is bull. It is bull. Yeah, you said stick. It's your fault. You jinxed them yesterday. That's what it is. I don't know that I'm going to be able to live through another. Dude, I saw on Facebook this morning, Brandon. One of my friends posted that Doc Rivers is 6-9 in Game Sevens in his career, and he's never won a Game 7 on the road in his career. Not good sign going into Sunday. A Mother's Day on Sunday, that's going to be a tough one for people. It's going to be a real tough one. Got to do all the Mother's Day things. You got to have brunch. You got to take care of all the mothers in your life, your wives, your dog moms, everything. We got to get to the Sixers game and somehow keep it going. It's going to be a rough Mother's Day. We have shown that we can win in their building. For once, I liked what Doc said when he said, we're always supposed to go through this team. Yeah, I mean, I get that. And we can win. And we can beat them on Sunday. And I don't even want to use the terminology that, we should have won it, whatever. Like, it is what it is. Boston's a really good team. The Sixers are a really good team. They're having a dogfight, a slugfest of a series. Everyone said whoever came out of this series, whether Sixers, Celtics, or originally Boston and Milwaukee was supposed to be in this series, whoever came out of this series, or whoever out of the Boston, Milwaukee, Sixers came out of those three, we're going to win the NBA title. That's basically the way it's shaping up right now. I mean, that's how it is. Medical degree. I'm not putting last night's loss on Doc Rivers. Doc Rivers had a game. I mean, he didn't do awful. He didn't do great. He didn't do awful. I don't blame Doc Rivers for last night. I blame the team. And we're going to get into the box score and who to blame in a minute here. I'm almost hoping they lose so the suffering can end. I know, Brandon, I've had these negative thoughts in my head. I have that, if they lose, we could start the refresh, retool, rebuild of this franchise. But, man, I still want it so bad. I want that win. I want to get to – I was on the edge of my seat last night, and I just kept thinking in my head, man, first Eastern Conference Finals is right there since 2021. It's been so long. I was in my buddy Brian texted me last night in the middle of the game. He's like, the last time the Sixers made it to the Eastern Conference Finals, we were at my graduation party, college graduation. I'm like, damn, that makes me feel so old. And so I blame Brian for making me feel old last night. Doc will feel at home on Sunday. Oh, yeah, I mean, I guess that kind of is a good way to look at the fact that he hasn't won on a Game 7 on the road. Going to be Mother's Day massacre. Can you imagine how pissed off people like Mark and me and all the Sixers fans will be on Mother's Day, ruining all the moms' days if Boston wins? Or it'd be the same way up in Boston. If Philly wins in Boston, it's gonna be a bloodbath. You're hanging out with all your mother-in-laws and whatnot, and yeah, it's going to be an interesting one, Mark, on Mother's Day for sure. They haven't released the time, to my knowledge, yet, what time they're playing the game. Hopefully, it's like a 3:30, 4:30 start time. Yeah, our mothers don't deserve that. They need us to win. They need a win so that we're not all cranky as hell on Sunday. What the intentions of the Sixers? Who knows? I mean, it was a pretty pathetic performance. Yeah, I know. Joker had a hell of a series against the Phoenix Suns. He put up some numbers and they took care of business for sure. Brunch is 11:30, so there's no overlap. I wouldn't want to ruin Mother's. Well, what if they put the game at 12 o'clock and noon or something? They haven't officially announced it. At this point, I don't know that I can even blame Doc. Dude, Tobias Harris, DeAnthony Melton, James Harden, hell, even and Joel Embiid all had awful games and had an awful game, had awful fourth quarter, had awful last 5 minutes of the game. The players did not execute last night at all. Not one bit. I put this on the players and solely the players. Well, not solely the players. I'll put it on the refs as well. We can talk the refs today as well because the refs absolutely. I mean, there was one play that Daniel House Jr., which we can get in. I didn't even think he was going to be in the game. Literally got ran over. No foul was called. Literally bulldozed by a Celtics defender. No foul call. There was a play where there was a loose ball and a timeout was given to the Celtics. The ball was on the court. Normally to call a timeout, you have to have possession of the ball. The ball was bouncing around the court, and the player, instead of grabbing the ball, was going timeout, and the rest awarded the timeout. There were so many. James Harden complained about, I mean, some of those were clean plays, but some of them he should have been called for fouls. Maxey hits the floor a lot, but he was hit a bunch of times, not called fouls. It was a very, very lopsided game refereeing-wise, no doubt about it. They stink. And, yeah, come on, can we get some negativity from you, Johnny? Because you said it was over for the Sixers and they were going to win. You're jinxing this team. So let's be as negative towards the Sixers, Johnny, as you can in the chat, and then maybe we got a chance. Harden, Maxey, Melton had consecutive empty and questionable possessions down the stretch. Absolutely. Melton looks lost. The story has been Maxey struggles against the Celtics. DeAnthony Melton has been awful offensively this entire series. Awful, awful, awful. James Harden was not good. Maxey had a good game overall, but down the stretch, nobody performed down the stretch. Nobody. And whenever you're negative about the Sixers, so the Sixers suck. The season is over, and we're moving on to the football season here because we got lots of football to talk about today as well. 3:30 if Golden State wins, 8 if they lose. Can it please be a 3:30 game? I don't want an 8 o'clock game on Sunday. That'll be so tough to stay up till 8 o'clock on Mother's Day. Intentions to go and chill at crib. Yeah. Harris had 2 points. Yeah. Can we talk about Tobias Harris last night? Actually, Tobias Harris had a bad game offensively. Not just a bad game, a complete garbage game offensively last night. Like, complete dog trash. I mean, he played awful on offense. But he did have a solid game defensively. You got to give him some credit for the fact that Jason Tatum was struggling so much through the first 3.5 quarters. He had multiple steals, multiple blocked shots. He was literally locking down Jason Tatum, hand in the face all the time, not giving Jason Tatum any room to maneuver. Tobias Harris's defensive effort last night was pretty solid for a guy that's not considered a defensive player. I would 110% give Tobias Harris almost a pass on last night's bad offense. Because if you're going to play that kind of defense on Jason Tatum, then you expect somebody else offensively to step up. Melton, Joel Embiid, James Harden. I mean, James Harden last night, what was it, 13 points he had last night? 13 points. 0-6 from deep, 4-16 overall shooting. I know he had the 9 assists and the 3 steals, but the Sixers had 11 turnovers last night. 9 of them between Joel Embiid and James Harden. It's just not good enough. So I'm almost willing to give Harris a pass offensively solely for the defensive effort he put out there last night. I'm going to give him some of that credit of most of that game locking down Jason Tatum. And Jason Tatum went off. I know that late in the game. You can't expect a guy like Tobias Harris to lock down Jason Tatum for 48 minutes. You just can't. I brought an extra big cup of coffee for this 90-minute episode today. The refs were obvious, so obvious last night. And I don't know how much I believe or don't believe. James Harden after the game was quoted as saying something along the lines of, that he was complaining about the refs not giving him any calls. And he said that the refs even told him at halftime that they missed a few and they'll do their better to clean it up. I don't know. I don't know if the refs really interact with the players at halftime or not. The refs, man, I don't like blaming refs for things. I don't like to have the foul call, differential and stuff like that. But, man, it was so blatantly obvious. And it doesn't even matter. The Celtics actually had more fouls called on them than the Sixers did. It's 13-14. 13 fouls against the Sixers, 14 against the Celtics. But it's just the way the game was reffed and the way the game was called. I mean, I still point to those 2 specific plays. The Daniel House collision, or where he was just flat out run to. The loose ball where a timeout was awarded to Boston when no one had possession of the ball. And then you could have the big momentum swing. You could have easily say the momentum swing was when they made Tyrese Maxey retake the 2 free throws on the clear path foul. I mean, what the hell was that? Like, literally, what was that? How do you take 2 free throws a minute later? I know it's in the rules that they're allowed to do that. Take 2 free throws off and be like, coming out saying, hey, we got it from a minute ago. We got to reshoot these free throws. What in the holy hell was that? I don't think I've watched a lot of NBA basketball, a lot of Sixers basketball and non-Sixers basketball. I don't think I've ever seen anything quite like that scenario last night. I don't know. I'm dumbfounded. But everybody was so excited when they saw who was released and certain refs' names weren't on the game. Well, man, you could have put any three refs out there on the court last night. The Sixers were not going to get the favor of the refs last night. It just wasn't happening. It was pathetic. It really was. Maxey strung 2 good games in a row, and B kept us in it. All those reviews and phantom calls from the refs really took all the momentum from us. Yeah, I mean, John Embiid, he said it clearly after the game. In the last 4 or 5 minutes of the game, he didn't touch the ball enough. He didn't get the ball enough. But when you're the MVP, you got to go and demand that damn basketball. When you are the clear-cut best player on the court, and Joel Embiid is the best player on the court in this series, without a shadow of a doubt, even with a torn or sprained knee, he's the best player on the court. And he can't get more than 1 or 2 touches in the final 4 minutes of the game. He had that little missed hook shot. I think he missed one other layup or something like that. What is with the missed layups and the block shots? I don't know if the Celtics are this amazing defensive team and they block a lot of shots and that's just what they do all year long. But, man, the Sixers had so many shots blocked last night. It's like every 5 minutes there's another shot block. Every time they go up there, Tobias, DeAnthony, Maxey, Joel Embiid, everyone getting shots blocked and missing layups and bunny shots. I mean, I can't. I don't get it. No team should get blocked that many times. I don't know. It's insane. Marcus Smart leg whipped Harden intentionally. And I forgot about this one, Mark. I know exactly what you're talking about. I remember PJ's reaction was like, what the hell happened right here? It really, really, I hate blaming the refs. I do. But there's no way around it after last night. Literally no way around not having some conversation about the performance from the referees last night. Tim Dunaghy still making an impact in today's game. Well, yeah. I mean, I guess. I'm sure he's still. I watched the Tim Dunaghy documentary on Netflix, and I forget what the guy's name was. The other guy in that whole story, and man, maybe he's still talking to some refs. I don't know. Who did he meet some of those refs at Xfinity Live before the game? Do we have any video footage? Tobias, I know. I've seen that posted, Mitch, by a bunch of people on Twitter. Look, I already said it, Mitch, that Tobias had a god-awful game offensively. Zero doubt, no doubt about it. But he played damn good defense for a majority of the game on Jason Tatum. So you got to give him some credit where credit is due. And I think you have to look, Mr. Negativity. And that's who I am. And I'm giving you some reason to be positive on Tobias Harris. Harden, Maxey, and Embiid absolutely have to ball in Game 7 if they want to win. It's all on them. You got 2 days off instead of 1. So maybe James Harden has a free day today. Maybe he'll fly out to Vegas, get a little Harden-esque relaxation, whatever that is that he does out there. Embiid can rest that knee a little bit. Man, the big three, they just need to come up bigger. Honestly, if they make 2 more shots down the stretch, and the announcers called it out with 2 minutes left, the Celtics went up 8 or something like that. There's still 2 minutes left, and you could just see Harden, Maxey, and Embiid, their emotions just dropped like they thought they lost already. Where was there was no sense of urgency in the last 2 minutes. The game wasn't out of reach, and they basically gave up so quickly. It's exactly what we saw in Game 5 from the Celtics. They gave up too quickly. I don't know if anybody else noticed it, but it's like the last 2 games, everyone's giving up too quickly on these games. They rushed all their shots at the basket. Yeah, that's going into the block shots and the missed layups. It's tough. It's tough to see right now. I'm not going to lie. If the Sixers lose, I'd love to see a fist fight between the Sixers and Smart on the court. Well, you're not going to see that. Joel and Marcus Smart, I think, are actually pretty tight off the court. They seem to have a pretty good relationship. It's just, I'd rather see the fight with Tatum, honestly. He's the guy I can't stand. What is this, Ben Simmons giving credit for defense, not putting up points? Fair, I guess. I guess it's a little fair. But Ben Simmons, Tobias Harris is at least willing to take the shots. I don't know. Locking down Jason Tatum. And when Ben Simmons was here, he was supposed to be the number 2 scoring threat on this team. Not J.J. Redick or Marco Bellinelli. Like, he was supposed to be that number 2 guy putting up 18, 20 points a game, and he wasn't. Tobias Harris, if he made 3 or 4 more shots last night, nobody would be complaining about the game he made. Get him to club risque to release his tensions. No. He needs the Vegas loving. He loves those. He needs to biatch slap somebody in Vegas like he did before game 1. And that's how he's got to get it done. Same formula as game 5. Come out aggressive and close out with threes. I mean, you think about it. I mean, close out with threes. The Sixers shot 23% from 3. 8 of 34. They got up 34 3-point shots. How in the world, PJ Tucker, first off, PJ Tucker only played 20 minutes last night. Thought that was really weird. He was aggressive and took shots. He took 7 shots from 3, 8 shots overall. Like, PJ Tucker took more 3-point shots than James Harden last night. It's insane. Completely insane. And he missed a lot of them, so I get that. He only played 20 minutes, which was surprising. I don't know what the reason was that playoff PJ wasn't on the court much in the fourth quarter. Does the fourth quarter change? You bench PJ Tucker because he's not willing to pull the trigger. He's willing to pull the trigger and he's not hitting them, so you bench him again. If there's anything I'm going to criticize Doc Rivers from last night, is the fact that there was like 5-6 minutes left in that game, and I'm like, where's PJ Tucker? Why is he not on the floor? Like, it's not like DeAnthony Melton was playing great. DeAnthony Melton was over. Did not make a single shot or a single bucket last night. So where was PJ Tucker in the closing minutes? That is something that really, really concerned me. If I'm going to put any blame on Doc Rivers for last night's loss, it's going to be the simple fact that there was no PJ Tucker on the floor in crunch time. At least maybe he gets a hand in Tatum's face. Maybe he creates a steal. Maybe he creates a hard foul. I don't know what it is. But no PJ Tucker? 20 minutes from playoff PJ? Unless I missed something and he got banged up and injured and he wasn't feeling 100%. If I'm wrong, let me know. But there was something off there about that. I don't get that. I'm looking at this box score, and you had your 4 other starters all play over 40 minutes. You had Melton play 24 and Tucker play 20. And George Young played 15, and George Young made a couple shots last night. One of them was really key in a key spot. But man, you can't get Tucker more than 20 minutes. I don't know. I mean, close out on Boston threes. Okay, gotcha. With purpose. Well, that's what PJ Tucker does. They were lazy, but that's what PJ Tucker fixes. And he wasn't out there. I'm not sure what that deal is and why PJ Tucker wasn't out there on that floor much. Seems really odd to me, and I would love to. I'll dive through the interviews and dive through the reports and articles as the day goes on. I'm curious to see what the reasoning was because of that. I mean, unless there's an injury, 20 minutes is far too little for PJ Tucker. In his 20 minutes, he had 3 steals. He had an assist, a couple rebounds, one being an offense. He did shoot 2 of 7 from 3. But you want him to pull the trigger, or you're going to bench him, or you want him to, you're going to bench him because he pulls the trigger and he's not making them. I don't know. I don't know. There's so much to look into in this game. And, you got Joel Embiid playing 41 minutes. He scored 26 points, had his 10 boards, had a couple blocked shots, some turnovers, a steal, whatever. But the fact that he took 2 shots in the last 5 minutes of the game, it's just not good enough. You need your MVP to step up bigger in the end of the game. And I'm not trying to be critical of Joel, but when he says after the game that he needs the ball more in the closing minutes and he's not getting it, well, that's on him in those closing minutes not demanding it. And then when he does get the ball, some of the sloppy turnovers that he had in crunch time, pretty pathetic. He's got to be better than that. Honestly, it wasn't our defense that sunk us. It was our offense. I mean, you scored 86 points last night. I know Boston's a good defensive team, but you don't win in the NBA if you score. When you hold an opponent to 95 points, which is what the Celtics scored, the Sixers should have easily won that game. Over-under was like 210 last night, and you scored a combined 181 points. I mean, you should win that game 9 times out of 10 when you hold an opponent to 95 points. When you hold Jason Tatum to 1 point in the first half, you should win that game. When you hold Jason Tatum to like 3 points before the final 5 minutes of the game, you should win that game. To me, I don't get how. I still don't even know how we lost this game. We just didn't make shots. They shot 23% from 3 of the Sixers. They shot, what did I say, 8 of 34. They make 2 or 3 more, they win the game. They make 2 more threes before the final 2 minutes of the game when it got out of hand there, the score. 2 more threes, they win the game. You get Joel Embiid, 2 more shots in that 4 and 5 minutes, final 4 or 5 minutes of the game before it was out of reach, they win that game. It's that simple. It was the offense. It was the players coming up small. It was so much. George Niang got torched on defense. George Niang, I've said it before. I mean, George Niang, what's there to say about George Niang? Doc Rivers loves George Niang. He does. And that's why he played 15 minutes last night instead of like 4 or 5. And I know he shot 2 or 3, and one of his threes were big in the big comeback where we got a lead and all last night. But, man, that guy, he's got 2 bricks for feet, for sure. For Harden and Embiid, Doc, this game 7. Well, Mark, you know more than anybody. I've been talking about legacies all year with the Sixers team. Literally. Talking about my whole entire platform of this season for the Sixers was legacies on the line. I said at the beginning of the show, Doc Rivers is 6-9 in Game 7s, has never won a Game 7 on the road. He's considered one of the greatest coaches of all time, Doc Rivers. Has 1 title. 1 title in his career. His legacy is on the line. James Harden. Joel Embiid's legacy can still be defined. He's still 29, 30 years old. He's still got a MVP caliber window for 2 or 3 more years. But James Harden's going to be 34. James Harden's at the end of his leash, at the end of his run. This might be his last chance to win a title. Doc Rivers, this might be, if he does not win Game 7, he's gone. And I said it yesterday. Doc Rivers is not going to get another chance to coach a team this talented. Again, he'll get a team in that 8 to 12 seat window to see if he can push them up a little bit. He'll get another opportunity when he wants. You know, James Harden will go somewhere else if we get rid of him, but he's not going to have an opportunity to play with this type of talent again. It's mostly Embiid or Harden and Doc's legacy, and a little bit of Joel. A lot of people spent a lot of money, and you can tell there was a lot of nervous energy in that crowd. They got loud in the third, fourth quarter for sure, in the middle of the third and beginning of the fourth quarter when the Sixers took the lead. But there was a big stretch of that game where the crowd, in my opinion, was not as loud as they normally are, and it was kind of disappointing. He had some clutch threes. I do actually remember one key defensive stop now that you say it, Mark. Wasn't it along the baseline or something like that? Didn't he like tip a ball or something like that? I don't know. It was crazy. 83-81, and we absolutely needed a bucket, and we came up short. Maxey had a chance to cut it to 2, and he misses a free throw. Man. To think that it was 83-81 and we lost 95-86. Just think about that. Just think about it. Just think of how close this game was. And it ended nowhere near close. Harden's drip game. That's for the cool kids out. For the non-cool kids like me, drip is what he wears on the court. That was his problem. His outfit last night to the game wasn't as outlandish as his Cookie Monster or Sully outfit. Like, he just had like a really weird, ugly leather jacket on and a hard lunch pail in his hand when he showed up. Maybe that was the problem last night. James Harden did not go bold enough with his outfit. Yeah, Tucker couldn't hit a wide open 3 last night. But he was taking them. He was told you're going to get benched if you don't take the shots. So he takes the shots, he misses them, and he gets benched anyway. That is still, in my opinion, unless there's something that comes out that he got injured, my biggest baffling thing of last night's final 5 minutes. Not that they didn't get the shots, not that they couldn't get Joel Embiid the ball, but that the PJ Tucker, playoff PJ, wasn't out there. I don't know. We were always supposed to go to Boston and win Game 7 to advance. We have shown we can win in that building. But how can you be so confident that you're going to take 3 games in Boston? Like, seriously, it's Game 7. Boston's been here, done that before. I know that. And you want the Sixers to win 3 out of the 4 games in Boston. The odds just don't say it. They don't stack up. They're already 7.5-point dogs. The money line's already plus 250 or plus 260, against the Sixers. I just can't wrap my head around everybody saying that they can win, they've proven they can win, and this is what it was meant to be. Like it's destiny to win Game 7 in Boston to advance to the Eastern Conference Finals. I saw a sad, depressed, lost team last night. You've now had Boston on the ropes twice in this series with a chance to put your foot on their throat, where they looked completely out of it, depressed, destroyed, packed it in, and you let them back in. You gave them breathing room. And now you're giving them home court for a Game 7. My confidence level is slipping further and further down the line. That will be 3 in a row. Joker the MVP, I think. Well, Joker's having a hell of a playoff run this year. There's zero doubt about it. And Joel Embiid, he was the MVP, and rightfully so, in my opinion. Let me tell you something. He hasn't been an MVP in the playoffs. I mean, he's had some 30-point games, and I know he's playing with a sprained knee and whatnot. But Joel's got to be better. Like if I'm gonna blame people for last night, I have no issue blaming Joel Embiid for last night's loss. You gotta be better. Joel Embiid has to demand the ball. He has to not commit 4 sloppy turnovers. He's got to not miss easy layup shots. When you're 3 feet from the rim and you miss a shot and you're 7-2, you got to be blamed. James Harden has to be blamed for last night. Scoring 13 points is just like in Game 5, he only scored 17, but he affected the game in so many ways. He wasn't affecting the game in those other ways last night. So then he better score. If he's not being that great distributor, if he's not being that great, leader on the court and that floor general, then he better score. And he didn't. I'm not blaming Tobias. Tobias is the 4th star on this team. I'm blaming Joel. I'm blaming James. Tyrese Maxey missing. I mean, it doesn't matter what the box score says. Tyrese Maxey had 26 points. Great. 3 steals, 3 assists, 5 rebounds. Shot 3 of 9 from 3, 9 of 20 overall. He missed a key free throw. He only missed 1 free throw, but it was in a key clutch moment. Your stars gotta come out and play when the game is on the line. And they didn't. They came up small last night. And Mother's Day Massacre. It's going to be a phrase from here on out. The process, trust the process if we lose on Sunday, is going to be replaced with Mother's Day Massacre, which is followed up with the day after when everyone gets fired, cut, traded, whatever. I'm actually on the side note kind of curious if we go down on Sunday and do not advance and do not win this series. Who's going to be the first person to point fingers? Doc, Joel, James? Because damn well, there's going to be some finger pointing going on in this organization if they go down in Boston on Sunday, on Mother's Day. I'm not overconfident. All I'm saying is Boston was never going to roll over. I always thought this was going to go 7 games. Unfortunately for us, we have to go on the road and pull out a win. I get that, Marshawn. My thing is that it didn't have to go to 7. You had opportunities. What did I say after Game 1's huge win? Put your foot on the throat in Game 2 and make a statement. They came up super, super small in Game 2. Game 3, they looked like the series was over. I said the series was over. Then you win Game 5. You have the opportunity to slam the door shut last night. You've now had multiple opportunities to slam the door shut on this Boston Celtics team, and you keep it's like in rounders. Check, check, check. All you do is check. You trapped me. It's like the Celtics are trapping the Sixers and the Sixers fans. You trapped me. That's what the Celtics are doing. Like, you had the opportunity to put them away. You got too cute. And now you're stuck playing a game 7. And the momentum, the favor, everything points at it should be the Sixers. And look, I'm not a team of destiny type person. I don't believe in that kind of stuff. I don't believe in when people say they deserve to have a chance to play, or they deserve a title, or they deserve an MVP trophy someday, or they deserve an All-Star nomination. No, you got to earn it. You don't deserve nothing. Nothing gets spoon-fed to you. And the Sixers had the opportunity, and they came up super small. And like I said, it was everybody across the board, everybody. And we can blame the refs all we want. We can blame, the Celtics' dirty plays. We can blame so many things. But you know what? It comes down to Joel Embiid, James Harden, Doc Rivers coming up small last night. Plain and simple. We won 2 in Boston already. We've shown we can win in that building. Celtics have not been a good home team. And honestly, they have not looked this beatable in a while. I love the positivity, Marshawn. I do. I appreciate the positivity. I do. I want the positivity. I want to be positive. I do. It's just so tough when they're beatable. But you're saying Boston's beatable. But are they 3 out of 4 beatable? Because that's what you have to do. You're saying that the Sixers now have to win a third out of 4 games in Boston. Crowd's going to be raucous. Boston's home court. I wish I had your confidence, Marshawn. I really do. I don't know what game you were watching, Johnny, if you thought the refs were fair. Because there are some blatant bad calls that went against the Sixers last night. Blatant bad calls. The fact, can I say something first and foremost? I think the NBA challenge rule either just needs to be completely done away with, or adjust it. You get 1 challenge a game, and that's it. And they had to waste the Sixers their challenge with 5 or 6 minutes left on a clear out of bounds on the Celtics. When it clearly bounced off the one dude's head. Clear. And you have to waste it. There were so many times you could have challenged plays throughout that game. You couldn't because you only got 1 challenge, and you don't want to waste it. The NBA challenge rule is atrocious. But the refs forced the Sixers to waste a challenge there because of how bad they were. And I get into it again. The blatant bulldozing of Daniel House. The timeout given to the Celtics when they didn't even have possession of the ball. Bringing out a rare rule. We're making Tyrese Maxey reshoot free throws a minute later. Like, some of the shit that went on last night, I have no idea. Don't be positive. We always win when you poo-poo on the Sixers. Look, it's funny, Marshawn, because you're new to the show. Well, new to my content. In the last 4 or 5 weeks since I've been doing this on Philadelphia Sports Network. You're new to me and my content. But I am Mr. Positivity. I am the picture of positivity. I believe in the power of positivity. But, man, have I been down on the Sixers team. And if I have to pick it right now, and this is the last, we don't do shows on Saturday and Sundays, so I won't have a show before Sunday's game. I'm picking the Sixers to lose the game. The fact that in those last 2, there was 2 minutes left in the game, Marshawn, and it was only like a 6-point game. And you saw, and you heard the announcers call them out. And Doris Burke and company, they're obviously pro-Celtics. And you could just see, and they said it too, the Sixers look like they already gave up. And why? Because there's 2 minutes left, and it's like a 2 or 3 possession game. Like, they looked like they gave up last night. In those when things stopped going well for them. And when all of a sudden the Celtics got a little momentum, their shoulders went down, their heads went down, and they tapped out. They went, game over. And that is hard. When you give up It's hard to come back from that. Very hard to come back from giving up. I keep thinking we got a good lead in the fourth. Now just tap it in. Yeah. It just didn't go well. Also, why do we have to jump the ball after 6? The challenge rules? I don't. There's so many bad rules in the NBA. So many bad rules. Marshawn is doing the same thing you are doing a little with the refs. It's called cape with refs. Tucker can't. Tucker again. We talked about him. He missed a lot of shots last night, but he wasn't on the floor. He wasn't on the floor. And they reminded you on that broadcast a lot last night how he used to be one of the best corner threes in the league. Well, he ain't one of the best corner threes in the league anymore. But at least he was taking them. At least maybe he would have brought something defensively late in the game. Maybe. I don't know. Marshawn's ready to jump the football already. He wants the football conversation to happen. Yeah, I mean, let's reset here. It's 8:40. Not having the hugest show view-wise here, but I appreciate Johnny, Marshawn, Mark, Brandon, the guys jumping in the comments section. I appreciate it for sure. Let's cope the Sixers. Let's switch the conversation to a little Eagles, a little NFL, a little schedule talk. We'll recap. This is Trending in the AM on Philadelphia Sports Network. Make sure you like, you subscribe, you share, you tell a friend. Tell everybody the best morning show in the Philadelphia area. Hell, on YouTube, the only place where your opinions actually matter. People want to talk football. We can talk football. We can talk this Eagles schedule. I know, Marshawn, or Johnny, you're gonna keep talking about the Bills schedule, but I don't know what the Bills schedule is. I don't care. I know one thing about the Bills schedule, and that is that they play the Eagles on Sunday, November 26th at 4:25 on CBS. And that is in the absolute toughest stretch of the Eagles schedule. Weeks 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. You think about it, they come off their bye, the Eagles. They go to Kansas City, come home to Buffalo, San Francisco, then go to Dallas and Seattle. I mean, that's a juggernaut. So let me start with this Eagles schedule. And this is exactly what I'm going to say, Mark. Let's start right here. I think the Eagles, the defending NFC champions, they played in the freaking Super Bowl. And you're going to give their first game on the road in New England. Okay, you know what? I don't like it, but that's fine. I'll accept that. They started on the road last year too. But then you're going to put your defending NFC champions first home game in week 2 on Thursday Night Football? That's where you put the shit teams, the bad matchups. What in the blue midnight green hell is that? What? Like, who wrote this schedule for the Eagles? Do you realize the Eagles don't have a 1 o'clock game till week 4 at home? Like, that's the basic core for an East Coast team. Those 1 o'clock games, they only have like 3 or 4 1 o'clock games on the whole schedule. But they don't have a classic 1 o'clock home game till week 4? Like, what were they doing? How in the hell do we have our home opener on Thursday Night Football? I don't know what's more disrespectful, that or having to start the season on the road. Kansas City starting at home. Why aren't we? I mean, we can say how bad that first matchup, Kansas City versus Detroit, the kickoff game of the year, pathetic. But it is so disrespectful to the Eagles to put their home opener on a Thursday Night Football game. So disrespectful. I just don't get it. Don't get it at all. Let's do NFL. Yeah, absolutely. That's what we're doing. Second half of our schedule is brutal. I mean, look, there's a chance. I mean, I don't make official predictions till literally right before week 1 starts. But you look at the schedule, the first half versus the second half, it's like 2 different stories. I mean, there's a chance we're 8-0, 7-1, something like that in the first 8 weeks of the season. Like, legit. It's not a cakewalk timing-wise and days of the week-wise. But it's cakewalk on opponents in the first half. That second half of opponents, it's brutal. And the amount of 4 and 5 day rest to 9-day rest. It's like the schedule is like all over the place for the Eagles. It really is. Does Josh Allen equal ratings? I don't know. I kind of feel like Jalen Hurts is actually who equals ratings. No more Sixers. Let's talk Eagles. Let's dive into this. We got a week 1 bye. You mean to tell me that the Eagles don't have a challenge week 1 against the New England Patriots? And is Mac Jones even going to be the quarterback? I don't know. I don't know. I mean, they're going to be retiring Tom Brady's number and doing this big Tom Brady ceremony in week 1. I don't know. Maybe. Yeah, the Eagles start out 1-0. But then they only get 3 days off, and then they have to play on Thursday Night Football right away. Bam. At home. So let's break down this schedule. Week 1, September 10th. Actually, let's backtrack. Let's go through preseason games. No, I'm just kidding about preseason. But just so you know, August 11th at Baltimore Friday night, first preseason game. First time we get to see some football. Love it. I hate preseason football, but I love the week 1 of preseason football because it's football. It's about time we get to see some football. Phillies are. Who gives a crap about overlapping games? No. That might be what they're talking about, but you know what? I don't agree with that. It's the freaking NFL. The NFL wins and trumps everything. In dollar-wise. In the minds of the people that build things. So I don't buy that. But Sunday, September 10th at New England, 4:25, first game of the season, should be a win. Then you go to Thursday Night Football. What's crazy is 2 straight years, week 2, we're playing Minnesota on primetime. That's really interesting. We got week 5, London Jags. The Jags are playing 2 weeks in a row in London, I heard. I don't have that confirmation up, but that's what I heard. And that's really interesting that they have back-to-back games in London. It's almost like, don't they have like the Bills in London, and it's the Bills home game or something like that? So if you get lots of fans, you can extend your NFL coverage a bit. I could talk all NFL teams. I just didn't prep at this point in May all the schedules. I just looked at the Eagles schedule only. Let's just start all these things. You got way too many comments there, Johnny. So I'm just gonna get back to the schedule here. Week 2. So September 14th, Minnesota, 8:15 Thursday night. So disrespectful. But then you go right to Monday Night Football the next week at Tampa Bay. And it's a 7:15. They must be doing 2 Monday night games multiple weeks in a row to start the season, I guess. I guess that's why it's a 7:15 game. So you go Sunday, then you go short week for Thursday, then you get extended week till Monday Night Football, and then you get a short week on the Sunday again against Washington at home. Then you go on the road to Los Angeles to play the Rams, which should be easy, but we'll see what Matthew Stafford looks like this year. And then you're on the road again against the Jets and Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers and the Jets got way too many primetime games. The Jets are going to stink. We said it yesterday on this show. The Jets are going to stink. The Jets are going to lose a lot of football games this year. Hey, I appreciate the comments, Mitch, man. This is what I do. I love it. And I wish more people tuned in. Some days I got 50, 60 people watching. Today there's like 8 or 10 of you. I don't care. I love it. This is the only place. Mitch, I believe firmly in my new slogan, where your opinions actually matter. I'm coining that. Don't steal it for your show, Mitch. The Jets are going to absolutely stink this year because of Aaron Rodgers. I just don't buy them. So week 6 at Jets. Then you come home for Miami. Just think about this for a second here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of your first 8 games on the road. Seems a little bit rough. At home against Miami, Sunday Night Football again. So again, in your first 7 weeks, you got 1, 2, 3 primetime games in the first 7 weeks. Oh, the Eagles, I get the Eagles on primetime. Jalen Hurts is money. He's ratings. It's one of the best teams in football. They're going to get primetime. But the thing is, there's no consistency to the Eagles' schedule. They're not going to be able to get into a routine of any kind. And I do think that that's something that bothers me a little bit. But then you go Miami at home, then you go on the road to Washington, which is almost like a home game, and then home against Dallas. So that's your first 9 games before the bye week. Okay? So New England should be a win. Minnesota, Thursday Night Football at home. I don't know the exact number, statistician. Maybe you got it if you're watching. Thursday Night Football games, the home team have a massive advantage in. So they should win that. They should win at Tampa. Who knows who's going to be the quarterback in Tampa? Who knows what's going on in Tampa? Tampa's going to be a dumpster fire this year. And then home against Washington. If Sam Howell's the quarterback for the Washington Commanders, they're not going to win many games this year. So that's 4-0. Then you go to the Rams. The Rams game on the road is the first game where I'm not sure about yet. If Matthew Stafford is fully healthy and recovered, if Cooper Kupp is fully healthy and recovered, they still have Aaron Donald on that team. They still have Sean McVay coaching that team. Are they going to be the disappointing Rams of last year? Or are they going to be the really good Rams Super Bowl team of 2 years ago? I don't know. And we won't know that. That's why I don't make an official record prediction until the season starts. Hey, I appreciate it. I'm not here for a short term. I'm here for the long grind, my man. I was just thinking about it yesterday and today. So I started doing podcasts, period, 9 years ago or 3 years ago. Just once a week, pre-recorded with a bunch of guys. And today is the 3-year anniversary of my 4th show dropping. My 4th show, my original team, Johnny and Jeff. We interviewed Ron Jaworski for my 4th show. And today was the 3-year anniversary of that. And I saw that pop up on my Facebook memories. And I was like, damn, I used to get big guests on this show. Now I get nobody. I don't get any big. I've shouted out to Ala and Kate Scott to get them on here. I've shouted out some Eagles players. Nobody comes on. Somebody got a connection. Get me a big timer. Rams suck. Do they? Are we positive that, Mark? Because something in the back of my head says that, maybe if everybody's healthy, they're back to being good. I agree. They probably suck, but that's the first. We'll have to see how the rest of the offseason goes, how training camp goes, how the first few weeks of the season go. I'll pencil it as a win, but it could sway. It could. Yes, the real Ron Jaworski was my first ever guest I had on a show. I'll try to find a link to it, and I'll post it on my Twitter page later today. But yes, we interviewed Ron Jaworski very early in the very beginning 3 years ago. We were god awful, and the show was god awful. It was when I relied on others. I like to do the show solo as much as I can and just have guests on when I can. Even though Johnny, you hate guests. So the Rams was week 5. That's a win. The Jets, week 6 is a win. Miami, week 7. Miami. A lot of people like Miami. I find Miami overrated. They're an 8-9 max 10-win team at home. Sunday Night Football. Hurts versus Tua. The story writes itself. The Eagles should win that game. Week 8, already getting 2 Washington games in a 4-week stretch in the first half of the season. Washington's done. Sam Howell stinks. We sweep the series against Washington. There's a chance there legitly where we are 8-0 after week 8. And then our first Dallas game is a home game, 425. Joe Buck will probably be calling that game. No, actually, Joe Buck's not with Fox anymore. So I don't know who would call that game. It'll probably get flexed to wherever Joe Buck. Isn't he on ESPN now? So maybe it gets flexed to ESPN Monday Night Football that week. But there's a chance that we're 8-0. There's a chance we're 9-0 to start this season. That's how this schedule plays out. Rams are terrible. We got more Rams are terrible comments. Reposted here. Get lots of hits. I can't because it was an audio only. Back then we only did audio, and I don't own the rights to the show anymore because I'm not with that group anymore, and I kind of got bumped from that group. So no hard feelings, but I do have a link to the audio on my Facebook page, which means I could share that on Twitter. I can't share it on YouTube though, but I will find that audio and put it on my Twitter page for people if they want to hear it. Fox and CBS now share all games. You might get Nance and Romo. Maybe. Yeah, getting Romo for a Cowboys-Eagles game, that would be interesting. 49ers will be a huge letdown. The 49ers are going to be a letdown, like they're going to stink this year, or we're going to have a loss against the 49ers. I've got to know what you mean there. So then we go into our bye week 10, and I love a week 10 bye. I think all NFL buys should just be week 8, 9, 10, or whatever. I know they would never do this. I would almost like the entire NFL to have the bye the same week and just Give us all like a 1 week break in the middle of the season somewhere. Spoiler, that West is going to be Seahawks, 49ers, Rams, Cardinals. Does Geno Smith and the Seahawks kind of level out and come down a little bit? Maybe. Man, spoiler. If I had a gun to my head today, and I don't, so I could change this whenever I want. Cardinals, we can all agree, are going to be in last place in that division. I'm going to go Rams, or 49ers, Rams, Seahawks, Cardinals as that division play out. That would be my ballpark guess without doing any research right now. 49ers have no quarterback. Yes, they have no quarterback. But they haven't had a quarterback in a long time. And they have a great, everybody else used to joke that the Eagles are part of a system. System quarterback, system team, plug and play anybody. Let me tell you something. The 49ers are the ultimate system. You can literally plug and play anybody. You can put Colt McCoy in there, and they'd probably win games. Ultimate system right there. And we get a full 17 games with Christian McCaffrey there in San Fran. Debo Crybaby, Samuel, still there. Brandon Ayuk, George Kittle, they're still a really good team. They're still going to win a lot of football games, San Francisco. And they are still the Eagles' biggest threat to getting back to the Super Bowl. Sorry. We need 18 games, 2 bye weeks. Dude, absolutely. Absolutely. Let's just have more football. I used to be against it just because the more games you play, the easier it is to break records. But screw records. I don't care about records anymore. Let's give me a 20-game season. I don't care. I just want more football. This show is so much more entertaining when we got football going on. 8 wins the NFC West. Mark, you ready to bet a beer on that one, Mark? We haven't had a beer together yet, Mark. We keep saying we're going to. I'll bet you a beer for sure that 10 wins at least wins that the San Francisco is winning more than 8 games. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. Yeah, I brought, a couple days ago, we brought Mojo Rawley and Boiler Room Mankind on the show. Today, we're talking Colt McCoy on the show. That's how you know this is a special morning show. The names that get dropped on this show. 16 games and 2 bye weeks would be better. I like the 2 bye week idea. I really do. Whether it's 16 games, 18 games, 17, whatever. I do think it's best for the health of the players long term to have shorter bye weeks or more bye weeks. I really do. But I also think, and we talked about this yesterday, that I think the elimination of Thursday night football games is in the best interest of the players. Make them Friday or Saturday. I would do away completely with, I would literally have no Sunday night or Monday night or Thursday night football. I know you'll never get rid of Monday night football. It's an institution of itself. It's almost as big as football itself. Just the name Monday Night Football. I get that. But if I was the commissioner, I would have Friday night, every week, a game, 8 o'clock Friday night. Then the ratings on it would be through the roof. I would have 2 games on Saturday every single week, at least maybe 3. 4 o'clock, maybe you have 1 or 2 games at 4 o'clock and 1 game at 8 o'clock. And then the rest of the games would be 1 and 4 o'clock on Sunday. That would be, because I'm old, I don't like staying up late on a work night. I also think it would be best for my business. But also I think it would be the most, I really think Friday night and Saturday night games would bring in massive ratings. I really do. All right, getting back. So then we go on this bye week. And then everybody's going to talk about it with the Eagles. That after the bye week, damn, does it get tough. And Ted, if you're watching, buddy, I know you watch once in a rare blue moon my show, Teddy. Number 1 son-in-law right here, okay? I'm hoping you buy me a plane ticket and a ticket to go with you to Kansas City for Monday Night Football, November 20th, Eagles, Kansas City. Man, come out of the bye week. What a difficult way to come out of a bye week. Come out of the bye week, first of all, and you get an extended bye week to an extent because you get an extra day because you're not playing until Monday Night Football. So you get your bye week, you play Monday Night Football, so you literally 1 week after the bye, you're on a short week again. And you come out of the bye week with Monday Night Football, Kansas City, in Kansas City. The Eagles did this. The NFL did the Eagles no favors there. And it's going to be a massive game, Super Bowl rematch, all that. But man, that is tough right there. Monday Night Football, Kansas City. And then literally right after Monday Night Football, Kansas City, you go home and you get Buffalo and San Francisco weeks 12 and 13. And I hear all the San Francisco people, players, coaches, media saying, well, at least they got San Francisco later in the year. Or the Eagles got the Eagles later in the year so they can maybe have a quarterback situation figured out. So San Francisco's already telling their fans it's going to take till week 13 to figure out their quarterback situation. You know, for as great of an organization, culture, and all that it is, that's pathetic that you need 13 weeks to figure out your quarterback situation. But then you literally, so bye week at Kansas City Monday night, then home Buffalo, San Francisco. Then you go down to Dallas for Sunday Night Football. I mean, do you just understand how difficult of a stretch that is? And then after that, you got Seattle, which you guys think Seattle's going to be good again. So you go at Kansas City, home Buffalo, home San Francisco, at Dallas, at Seattle. Holy crap, we might be 9-0, and then we might lose 3 or 4 of those 5 games there. We might be 9-0 and then 10-4 when week 16 rolls around and we're playing Christmas, Monday night or Monday afternoon on Christmas against New York Giants. I mean, shit. That is as difficult as it can be. How am I living? I mean, I was super negative to start this show, super depressed, super disappointed, Cam. Talking Sixers at the start of the show, I was heartbroken. But, we're moving on to Eagles football and the bright future of the Eagles football here for the second half of this show. And, man, it's got my energy. So maybe when I predict Game 7 and when we get back to the Sixers at the end of this show and I predict Game 7, all this positive Eagles talk, even though we're bringing some negativity to the Eagles talk with the disrespect part of it on the schedule maker's part, maybe that gets me to predict an Eagles or a Sixers win. Maybe we could turn the tides. And I could be, although you all want me to be negative because my negativity creates Sixers wins. Man, the schedule makers, man, there's no balance to this schedule. And then you close up on Monday, like I said, Christmas Day, which I said yesterday, I love the Christmas Day game. I'm watching that over basketball, no problem. Even if the NBA schedule makers try to screw with the NFL schedule makers and put the Sixers on close to the same exact time, I don't care. Don't care at all. Obviously, it'll be all Eagles. But I love the Christmas game. I love the fact that they're doing that now on a fairly regular basis. We'll see next year when Christmas is on a Tuesday what they do. But I would love it. And then they close the season. They don't close. And week 17 is – so they literally go from playing on Christmas Day to New Year's Eve for Sunday, 1 o'clock against the Arizona Cardinals at home. So just think about that. The Eagles have to play on Christmas Day and New Year's Eve. I know that's just the way the schedule and the calendar year works. But, man, that's difficult. Playing on the holidays is not easy. At least both games are at home. Players don't want to be away from their families. So they could close the season, hypothetically speaking, with wins in 16 and 17 week. And then week 18 is going to be on the road against the Giants. So you're playing the Giants 2 out of your last 3 games. Where it's weird because you're playing the Washington week 4 and 8, but you're not getting the Giants to week 16 and 18. So you easily could go 9-0. Then you could be 10-4. Then you can easily go 3-0 to end the season. Is this going to be like a Phillies type season for the Eagles where they just win a whole lot of games in a row, then lose a whole lot of games in a row, and then win more games in a row? No. And let me tell you something. Last year, I sat on this show before week 1, and I predicted the Eagles are going to – I laid out a plan and a path to how the Eagles were going to go 15-2. It was bold. It was insane. It was asinine. It was crazy. But I laid out a plan on how it can happen. And I'm not going to do that this year probably. I'm looking at this schedule, and I see more losses. Obviously, it's a more difficult schedule than last year. But I could probably right now, and I can't because I won't predict anything right now. But I can lay out a path where this Eagles team wins 13 or 14 games. And that stretch from week 11 through week, whether you want to call it 14 or 15, Dallas or Seattle, whatever ends the difficult juggernaut of a schedule, There's 5 difficult games. And every year, the Eagles will lose a game they should win. Maybe they lose to the Jets or they lose to Washington or who knows? You always lose a game you're supposed to win, and you always win a game you're supposed to lose. But there's something special and something interesting that I want to attack for a minute here, and that's Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni. As this incarnation of the Eagles team, the way Jalen Hurts is right now, the way Nick Sirianni is right now, 3 to 5 years from now, who knows, whatever. But right now, this year, last year you saw it, this year, and I'll probably have the same feeling next year, no matter how this season plays out. Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni will not allow this Eagles team to ever lose more than 2 games in a row. So you got 5 difficult games. Maybe you lose Kansas City in Kansas City, and maybe you lose Buffalo, then you'll win in San Francisco. Or you lose Kansas City, you'll beat Buffalo. Then maybe you lose San Francisco and Dallas, but then you'll beat Seattle. This team will not lose more than – there is no way, shape, or form that Jalen Hurts, his intangibles and his ability to put a team on his back and his ability to – the way he does things, he won't. He will never allow this team to lose more than 2 games in a row. Yeah, maybe if there's injuries and whatnot, things like that happen. But this team has so many great leaders, and this team has so many great, personalities. There's just no way, shape, or form that this Eagles team will lose more than 2 games in a row this season. And again, will they go 9-0 to start the season? It's doubtful. What were they last year? 8-0 before they lost their first game? Was that Washington lost week 9 or week 10? Were they 8-1 or 7-1 when they got that loss? Whatever. They start the season 7 or 8-0, whatever it may be. You can't expect that to happen again. You just can't. I think one of the keys for us on offense is Smitty taking another step. Do we want me to have that conversation again? I got praised and crushed on Twitter with that post that I said about 2 weeks ago, week and a half ago, that Devontae Smith is greater than A.J. Brown. And this year is going to prove it. He is going to take another step forward. Skinny Batman, better than swole Batman, in my opinion. I literally do not doubt myself in that opinion one bit, Marshawn. He is that damn good. And that is not a knock on A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown is one of the best wide receivers in football. No doubt about it. But so is Devontae Smith. And A.J. Brown does it just because he's bigger and stronger than everybody else. Devontae is smaller than everybody else, which in my mind, makes him have to work harder to get it. A.J. Brown waits for the ball to get to him. Devontae attacks the ball before it gets to him. Devontae high points a ball better. Devontae doesn't take plays off. A.J. Brown, occasionally, you see him not fight for a ball occasionally. He might not run out a deep ball because he thinks it might be over his head. Like, A.J. Brown takes a play off here or there. It's also why you see, if you go back and look at snap percentages from last year, Devontae played a higher percentage of snaps than A.J. Brown did last year. In a lot of games last year. So over the course of the season, for sure. But so, you don't ever have to question or doubt me and thinking that Smitty's going to have more catches than A.J. Brown this year, maybe more touchdowns. I don't know. It's crazy. A.J. Brown isn't even really good. He's great. It's like if A.J. Brown is the 9th best wide receiver in football, then in my mind, Devontae Smith is the 8th. Or maybe he's the 10th, and I'm just overvaluing him. It's literally 1A, 1B. And Devontae, the smarts, the IQ. We always talk about the basketball or the baseball or the football IQ. He's got it, Devontae Smith. So, look, it's not meant to be a knock. And some people were criticizing me because why even have the conversation? You're creating controversy. No, we're just having a discussion. And I'm trying to bring up the point how damn good Devontae Smith is. It's so frustrating because someone brought up Micah Parsons on the show a day or two ago. And I wanted Micah Parsons so bad in the Eagles green. And we didn't get him. We got Devontae Smith instead. And that's great. For sure. But wouldn't it, it's like I would have really loved him. And I never thought that I would have come to the point where Devontae Smith is one of my 2 or 3 favorite Eagles on the team. Because right now he is. It's Jalen Hurts. It's Jason Kelsey. It's Devontae Smith. It's Hassan Reddick. Maybe Nakobe Dean if he lives up to what I expect him to do this year. They're my favorite players on this team. Jalen Carter has the potential if he keeps himself clean and his nose out of trouble. But man, this schedule, man. We could wrap this up and kind of put it like full circle and just continue with this theory that we were just given a screwy start to the schedule. And it's disrespectful. I doubt I can ever remember a Super Bowl team not opening at home. A Super Bowl team, having to have their first home game on Thursday Night Football, having that wacky wonky schedule. Drafting players in key positions from big schools have really made a difference. They came from winning. Absolutely. Dude, Marshawn, I've been saying this for ages. And whenever somebody says this, Marshawn, because people say this or I bring it up, I don't have a hat on today, so you're looking at my fro right now. But you got to do a tip of the cap to Ed Kratz from Sports Illustrated, because he asked Howie before the draft that he drafted Devontae Smith and Landon Dickerson and all these, before he started drafting all these big school players, he asked him, why don't you draft Bama guys, Clemson guys, Georgia Bulldogs? And ever since Ed Kratz has asked this question, all we do is get big-time school players. If you play for Alabama or Georgia, you're playing for the money. You're playing big time. Why wouldn't you want those guys on your team? And Howie realizing he was wrong there. I give Ed Kratz the credit, but really it's Howie realizing drafting Jalen Reagor, and reaching for him. What you could have gotten, look, it's I'm not trying to criticize Jalen Reagor here. Oh, see, you're saying it too. No more players from TCU and no more Sixers talk. I have to give a Sixers prediction. So we'll wrap the show up with Sixers prediction in about 15 minutes. But old Howie passed on LSU, and LSU was a powerhouse when Justin Jefferson was there still. They've fallen off a little bit if my memory serves me. They're not like the title contender anymore. But you got LSU, big-time school. Justin Jefferson played in big-time games. Or Jalen Reagor from TCU. Old Howie, yeah, it was maybe there was part of it because they thought Justin Jefferson couldn't play in the slot or he was only a slot. I don't know, whatever it was. They wanted Jalen Reagor's speed, whatever. I forget what the knock on Justin Jefferson was. He either only could play in the slot or he couldn't play in the slot. Whatever. Couldn't play outside. Why wouldn't you want that? Just take the stats off the table. Why wouldn't you want the starter from LSU over the starter from TCU? It makes no sense. And that's old Howie. Now, new Howie is, let's just take the greatest defense in college football history, arguably, and let's just draft every defensive player from the team. And that's why we got Nolan Smith, Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, Nakobe Dean, Jalen Ringo, or Ringo Starr, or whatever his name is. There's such a difference in Howie's philosophy. And you look at this team that he has built over the last 2 or 3 years. 4 or 5 years ago, he doesn't build this team because he doesn't have the ability to stop himself from outthinking himself. The knock was JJ played the slot and how he proceeded to draft the slot wide receiver. Yeah, and a bad one at that. Just think he drafted Jalen Reagor and J.J. Arcega-Whiteside when he could have drafted DK Metcalf instead of Whiteside, JJ and J-Jaw. Like, he made so many big mistakes back then. Now it's no mistake. Let's just go get the best players from the best teams, and then later in the 7th round and undrafted rounds, we'll still target some of those big teams with their undrafted free agents, and then we'll take some projects then too. But in the core, your 1st, 2nd, 3rd round, when you're drafting players you want to make an impact, you go to the best schools. Now, I said it after the draft. I mean, we'll see if this works out. I mean, I don't know if any team has ever drafted so many players from one specific defense before. I mean, it's insane. We literally have 5 starters from that Georgia 2021 defense on our team now. I don't know if that's ever happened before. We'll see if it works. But it's okay. Let's see what we got here. Okay, I don't know. Blue chip guys, 2 talent guys from big schools are important, but small school guys, chip on the shoulder team guys, have their value. They do at certain points of a draft, at certain points of roster construction. Like the Eagles right now, I've talked about it a million times on the show, are in a win now window. Their window is wide. They are, even with this difficult schedule that we just broke down, we're still predicting 13, 12, 14 wins because this team, the Eagles, are still the best NFC team. There is no team better than them at this moment than in the NFC. They've basically got to get to the Super Bowl and see if they're playing the Bengals, Bills, or Chiefs. That's where they're at right now, the Eagles. In fact, I might bet the straight-up Eagles-Chiefs Super Bowl repeat, as my bold bet. If you're building from scratch, if you're starting, where, you've got lots of draft picks and you've got, whatever. I'm trying to think of the worst teams in the NFL right now. Houston or, I don't even know who else I want to put in that category right now. You could take those small school guys, and if they don't work, you're going to be 4-win team. If they work, you're a 6-win team. If they don't, you're a 4-win team, whatever. But with the Eagles, where they're at right now, you don't have the room to, in the first or second round, take those small guys because you need guys that are going to make an impact. You could take those small school guys in round 6, round 7, where they have time to develop, but that's it. It's all about your window of winning. 12-5, and another 12, 13, 14. Anybody that says any of those numbers, I'll give you a thumbs up on that for sure. I mean, there's no way they don't win at least 12 games, Mark. I mean, you look at it, 5 losses. I'm assuming you got some of those losses in that 5-week juggernaut stretch, maybe 1 or 2 early in the season. They'll win their last 3 games. They're going to win their first 3 to 5 games for sure. So that's 8 wins right there. So there's no doubt in my mind that 12-5, 13-4 is a very fair, not an like saying 12-5 or 13-4 for this Eagles team with this schedule is not, oh, you're just being a fanboy, whatever. No. That's a realistically strong prediction. One adjustment Howie has done to transform this team is trading away picks for established players. AJ, absolutely. But not just established young players. Like established young players at key positions of need like Chauncey Gardner-Johnson was on the end of a cheap rookie deal. DeAndre Swift's on the last of a rookie deal. You've got the opportunity to extend these guys. He was able to work out the extension with AJ. He wasn't with Chauncey. I hear rumors that they're trying to extend Swift right now cheaply before he becomes too expensive. Howie has nailed literally multiple off seasons in a row, like to perfection. His last 3 drafts, spot on. His last 2 free agency periods, spot on. And that's why we were in the Super Bowl last year. We're going to probably play in the Super Bowl this year. And I said it, this is not fanboy me saying this, Marshawn. If the Eagles do not play in 2 more Super Bowls in the next 3 years, I'll be extremely surprised. If they don't win a Super Bowl in the next 3 years, I will be shocked. If they don't appear in 3 Super Bowls in the next 5 years, I'd be shocked. That's how good this team is now and built for the future. Because Howie is, it's like the light went off on Howie. Yeah, I'm smarter than everybody, but I don't have to outsmart myself. Just take the best players that are on the board from the best schools. Believe we run through the NFC West. Again, let me double check here. The NFC West, we've got the Rams at Rams. We got San Francisco home at Seattle, home Arizona. We'll definitely beat in Arizona, and we're definitely beating Arizona. San Francisco at home, we'll have to say, can we go 4-0 against the West? That's tough, man. Those West Coast road games are so tough. You got to think they drop one of those West Coast games, man. Got to think that they drop one of them on the road. No one takes advantage of a bad player's contract situation. Dude, if I'm a team with a contract situation with a player, and I said it before on the show, if I see the 215, dialing up on my caller ID. I'm like, that's probably Howie. Ignore. Let it go to voicemail. Let the intern grab it because I don't want to get taken advantage of by Howie Roseman again. I say that's tough just because of how football injuries work, but the NFC seems clear for the Eagles. Exactly. Injuries could play into things. So much could happen. You get into a two. I don't think they would ever lose more than 2 games in a row just because of the intangibles of Jalen Hurts. Let's say Jalen Hurts gets hurt for 2 games. They lose 2 or 3 games. Then all of a sudden, you never know. The one thing that this team has avoided so far is drama. You do have divas on this team in A.J. Brown. You've got troublemakers, potentially, like Jalen Carter. You've got loudmouths on this team. What happens if the shit hits the fan, Cam? What if, things aren't working as well? We've lost 3 out of 4 games or something like that. Does it spiral? I doubt it. What if, it'll always, just like Joel Embiid with the Sixers, it will always be a question with Jalen Hurts' health. What if he misses more than a game or 2? Can Marcus Mariota fill in for 1 game like Gardner Minshew could? Sure. But if you need Marcus Mariota to start 3 or 4 games, you're in trouble. This team is built around Jalen Hurts and what he does and his leadership, the respect that the players have of him in the huddle. That there's always going to be that. But if everything goes according to plan, which according to plan is Jalen Hurts missing 2 games, in my opinion, always. That's why you always invest in the backup quarterback. In your mind, you got to think there's going to be 2 games Hurts doesn't play. 13, 12, 14 wins is possible. And they are the clear-cut favorite to win the NFC without a shadow of a doubt in my mind. Seattle may be the toughest because I'd say that if we were going to Arizona, we got Arizona at home. I would say that's a trouble. Any of those West Coast teams, man. I even say the Rams. Like I said, we think everybody's saying we think the Rams going to suck in the comments, but will they? I don't know. We don't know. Matthew Stafford still got something to prove. Cooper Kupp's still a damn good wide receiver, one of the best in football. Aaron Donald is the best defensive player in football. That could be the loss. You're going to lose one of those West Coast games. That's just my opinion right there. It's very hard to go West Coast and win those games. It just really is. It's hard to win the NFL, period. So the fact that we're talking about them winning 13 games or so this year again after winning 14 last year just goes to show how good this team is. How good, look, I say it, disrespect. This schedule's disrespectful. But yet, does that put a chip on the Eagles' shoulder? They lose the AFC games and a couple in the division. I don't know. I think they have a better chance at winning. I think the Eagles have a better chance at going 5-1 in the division than they do going 4-0 against the West. I do. I think the NFC East, the Cowboys are really good, sure, but they're going to Cowboy. You're going to split with them. I think they sweep the Giants and they sweep the Washington Commanders. I almost said Redskins. Almost. You're going to probably lose to Kansas City. Buffalo at home is going to be tough. Always. We'll see how it plays out. I was going to say something else, but now I forget. They do have a lot of primetime games as well. So the spotlight is going to shine bright on Jalen Hurts, on Nick Sirianni. What do we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We got 5 primetime games with a TBD week 18 against the Giants. So 5 primetime games, maybe 6 if something gets flexed out. A lot of eyes on the Eagles this year. That is the not the chip on the shoulder or the disrespect that they get. That's the respect they deserve. But the fact that pre-scheduled they've only got 5, you're only allowed 6. Aaron Rodgers and the Jets got 6. You know where they want their money in the NFL. They split against 2 of their division opponents and sweep the 3rd. Yeah, they could split against the Giants. They could. The Giants are a better team. I said that going into last year. Brian Daboll on that team building something. They're not the old Dave Gettleman Giants anymore. It's Dave Gettleman, whatever. They're building a proper team. Now, they spent way too much money on Daniel Jones. and that might hurt them in the short term. But there is no way that they're as bad as they used to be. And there's a different culture being built in New York in the Meadowlands for the Giants. The Giants, bold prediction here. I've already let you all know how I feel about the Jets. The Giants will have more wins with Daniel Jones at the helm than the Jets will with Aaron Rodgers. Mark that down right here. The Giants will have more wins than the Jets. Mark it down. I need Dallas Goedert to take an elite leap this year. No more mental-driven drops. And I think the second part of that, Marshawn, is the key. We had Kyle a few weeks ago when we were talking about it in the comment section doing the research for me, saying that he's missed 12 games in the last 3 years. Twice he's missed 5 games in a season, 2 of the last 3 years. Dallas Goedert, we always talk about injury with Jalen Hurts or the injuries with Joel Embiid. Dallas Goedert is injury prone. And going out and get Dan Arnold, Roseanne's husband, doesn't really upgrade anything. Grant Calcaterra, maybe he could take a step up. Everybody loves Tyree Jackson. I don't. Jack Stoll's a blocking tight end. I really wanted a major upgrade at tight end too because of that. Maybe there's a way you can go get Zach Ertz back from Arizona. Arizona's packing it in this year already. Haven't even started. I feel like the season hasn't even started, and I feel like Arizona's already bombed. Is there a coach we want to see fail more than Jonathan Gannon in Arizona? Is there a coach we want to see be a one and done more than Jonathan Gannon in Arizona? I mean, I think everybody disliked him in Philly before. I think everybody dislikes him even more now that he's gone and the way he's chirping down there. We'll continue this Eagles talk. The offseason, July training camp is still ways down the line. Wanted to get some initial talk on the schedule. We'll keep the talk going next week. Obviously, Monday next week will probably be talking Sixers, whatever happens on the Mother's Day massacre, whether it's a win, as a massacre in Boston, or it's a massacre in Philly's favor. Who knows what's going to happen? But I'm going to go. We're doing all this Sixers talk. And I thought I was going to convince myself to be positive and predict an Eagles or Sixers win. But for all of you, and for all of your sake, I am going to predict the Sixers loss. The end of the process. And next week we get to start having the conversation on how do we make the changes to finally get Joel Embiid past this. I really thought last night was the night. I thought we were going to get into our first Eastern Conference Finals in over 20 years since I was at my roommate's college graduation party. Marshawn, you're saying Sixers win on Sunday, book it. I'm going the opposite. I'm saying those last 2 minutes where they hung their shoulders and head, it's a Sixers loss on Sunday. They won last Sunday in Boston with the miraculous shots. They don't do it again. They don't. Sixers lose Sunday, and I'm going to say it's going to be a blowout. Sunday's going to be a game where you see 3 or more minutes from Jaden Springer. 2 or 3 minutes from Furkan Korkmaz. That's how bad it's going to be on Sunday. I got the Sixers losing 25, 28 points. Sorry. It's just the way I feel. I hate to end the show on a downer. Hey, you know what? We're gonna change things up next week. Monday's show will be a lot of Sixers talk, win or lose. But Tuesday, I've already lined up a reporter to come on and talk Flyers hockey. A lot of changes going on with the Flyers organization. I got a Flyers reporter coming on to talk about these changes. We'll get to Sixers. I'm trying to be as ultra negative as possible, Mark, so that they win, so that you can all prove me wrong and tell me I was wrong. That's all. I'm trying to be ultra negative for that reason. No, it's not. It's what I really feel, okay? It's what I really feel because I'm trying my best not to say I'm putting the mush on them so that the reverse mush doesn't happen. If people know I'm trying to be ultra negative to get the win, I don't want people to think that. So it's gonna play out that way. 110-85. Sixers lose on Sunday. Furkan Korkmaz plays 4 minutes because it's that bad. Sure, why not? Everybody, we're going to wrap up Train the AM. My first 90-minute episode here. Not the greatest viewership, so tell a friend, everybody. Make sure you're telling everybody. Like, subscribe, share the show out wherever you can. Tremendous amount of pressure against the Celtics. There's tremendous amount of pressure against the Eagles, the Sixers as well. Really messing with Lady Luck. I'm trying to do anything to get the win. I wanted the Eastern Conference Finals so bad. I want the finals. A lot of Sixers fans sound like they'd be happy just to get to the Eastern Conference Finals. I want the NBA Finals. I want the title, guys. That's what I want. But we got to wrap this up. I got to get to work. It's Friday. It's pizza shop business. Come see me this weekend. Fox's Pizza, Kennett Square. Come have a pizza with me. I'll talk Sixers with you. Hey, another great week of Trending in the AM right here on Philadelphia Sports Network. Like, share, tell a friend, tell the world. This is the greatest morning show in Philadelphia, the only place where your opinions actually matter. Don't listen to the dial. Don't listen to the big networks. Listen to me right here every single morning, 8:30 a.m., except for days like today when we go for an extra 30 minutes and start at 8 a.m. Everybody have a great weekend. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. Happy Mother's Day. Something big in the works next week that I'm going to talk about next week. Something huge happening for me. A big moment for me in this whole entire world, in this whole entire thing I do. So stay tuned. There have been a few little teases on Twitter. But something big happening next week. So everybody, make sure you follow me on Twitter at Beard of Knowledge. You're subscribed to this channel. Have a great weekend. Happy Mother's Day. For Philadelphia Sports Network, I'm Phil Stiefel. We'll talk to you Monday, 8:30 a.m.